Welcome back to a NFL draft special episode of the Chris Rocket Podcast. This will be episode number 24, and I know it's been a long time, man, but you get kind of burned out doing shit like this, man. Even though I love sports, man, people get burned out, and shout out to all the people who do it and they keep doing it. It's cats who've been doing podcasts for years. Here I am, only did it, 5 months and got burned out. But I'm here now. This episode will be strictly NFL draft related. Everything you had to know about the draft. If anybody been following me on Facebook or Instagram, I was doing grades on a lot of players. And I did a lot of post-draft grades because there's a lot of cats that I didn't catch on that initial list that I made. I got all of that shit here. We're going to talk about the first round picks, and then we're going to break it down into divisions to see the notable picks that were done from first round through the seventh round. Then we're going to talk about the Cowboys because, that's my team. I'm going to talk about my reactions for my team and, a couple other things that's going on. But the first round, when going into this draft, I told myself, there's no way in the world that the Cleveland Browns can fuck this up. It's foolproof. You get the top two picks in the top five, and you got a shitload in the second round, and then you got a few in the third. There's no way you can get this wrong. You get your guy, no matter who. You get your guy number one, and you get your quarterback number 4. You feel me? And just go about your business. Leading up to the draft, I'll say probably about a couple hours. Even I was shocked. First, let's show my mock draft. This is what my mock draft looked like. And I did the mock draft, I think the day before or a couple days before, whatever. I had the Browns selecting Sam Darnold, followed by Barkley, Rosen, Chubb. Broncos getting Denzel Ward because they missed out on Bradley Chubb. The Colts getting Quentin Nelson because they need offensive line. Andrew Luck, the shoulder injury. Raekwon Smith, which would have been perfect for that Bucs defense. The Bears getting help for Mitch Trubisky with Calvin Ridley. Same thing with San Francisco, getting some help for Garoppolo. Marquise Pouncey or Mike Pouncey, they left Miami, so guess what? We'll replace him with Mike McGlinchey, number 12. Tyrod Taylor went to the Browns. How about replacing him with a quarterback, Josh Allen? Minka Fitzpatrick to the Redskins made a lot of sense. Aaron Rodgers got sacked like a mofo. Why not give him the best left tackle, in my opinion, in the draft? And then, of course, Baker Mayfield falls to the Arizona Cardinals at 15, which would have been perfect. And then Lamar Jackson all the way to the Ravens, and that made a lot of sense. Then Billy Price going to the Chargers. Mark Andrews filling in for Jimmy Graham leaving in Seattle. Cowboys into the safety, get Derrick James. Vita Vea, of course, the Detroit Lions. They've been trying to fill in the void when Ndamukong Suh left. Bengals lost Zietler to the Browns, replacing with Will Hernandez. Of course, Buffalo, they traded away Ronald Darby. You get Carlton Davis. Cortland Sutton, to me, to the Patriots sounded like the perfect type of Patriots pick. Big guy, stretch the field. Anthony Miller to the Carolina Panthers. I thought that was the perfect situation. Jair Alexander sounds like a Mike Vrabel type of guy to me. Fumagalli to the Falcons. Josh Allen, linebacker to the Saints. Steelers needed safety help. Justin Reed there. Christian Kirk to the Jaguars to go with their young receiving core. Colton Miller made sense to the Giants. Mike Gesicki to the second pick of the first round to the Patriots. He just, they run a lot of 2 tight end set. That would have been perfect. And, of course, with the uncertainty around Gronk, which is not uncertain anymore because he's going to play, that would have made sense. And, of course, the Philadelphia. I would have thought they went with something like this, Malik Jefferson, just to piss me off, because they got pass rushers galore over there. That would have simply pissed me off, but I thought that made sense because then it's like you got Barnett, you got Fletcher Cox, you got all the defensive line would have been perfect, and then you get Malik Jefferson. That defense would have been scary. That secondary is already scary. Malik Jefferson would have made a lot of sense. So, like, if you're looking at this list, like, you know what I'm saying? It made a lot of sense. But then the draft came around. And it didn't take long for the Cleveland Browns to, like, fuck up my whole little low board, man. Now the top 6 went just as planned. First pick, Cleveland Browns selected Baker Mayfield, which was a shocker for me, but not for a lot of people, because a couple of hours for the draft, like, they were saying, well, the Browns might go with Baker Mayfield. And then come to find out, that's who, for months, who the GM was going to go with all along. So, I mean, I just kind of thought it was smoke and mirrors, because that's some shit I do. Yeah, man, we're going to take Baker Mayfield, man. So another team can come up, give me a deal, and it's like, bitch, I ain't want to draft him anyway. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I thought that was. So they get Baker Mayfield, and then, of course, as planned, the Giants had to go with Saquon Barkley. I mean, they could have went with Sam Darnold, but it's like, you know, it makes sense to me, but it kind of, you know, they get their running back, even though they need offensive line help like a motherfucker. Barkley made sense to me. That's why I put him on the mock draft. And then the Jets, who thought that Cleveland was going to get Sam Darnold, that's why I put Josh Rosen for them. They like, well, shit. We wanted Sam Darnold anyway, but we didn't think he was going to drop this low, so shit. Appreciate you. They get Sam Darnold at number 3. Then Cleveland backdoors and get Denzel Ward instead of Bradley Chubb. I thought Bradley Chubb would have been better, but they, you know, they was like, let's get some secondary help. Apparently, they very high on Emmanuel Ogbah, I guess. So they get Denzel Ward. And then, of course, Denver is like, well, shit. You know, they like Chubb and Ward. So they would have picked either or. That's why I put Ward for the Broncos in my mock. So Denver get Chubb to go along with Von Miller on that pass rush on the defense. And then, of course, as expected, Indianapolis went Quentin Nelson to pass protect for Andrew Luck. Number 7. Buffalo actually traded up. I got Josh Allen. And, of course, on my mock draft, I got Buffalo taking Josh Allen. That's exactly what happened. Chicago got Roquan Smith instead of Calvin Ridley, which, you know, you look at it, it kind of makes sense. I like it. And then San Francisco gets Mike McGlinchey. And then you kind of think about it, it kind of makes sense. You know, you get your offensive line and you're protecting your high-priced quarterback. It made a lot of sense. And number 10, Arizona trades with Oakland and gets Josh Rosen. Who did I have? I had them get Baker Mayfield. But Baker Mayfield is already gone. So it's like, let's get the other quarterback that's on the board. 11, which was kind of like a shocker to me. And, of course, McGlinchey is already off the board. Miami gets Minkah Fitzpatrick. And then Tampa Bay goes Vita Vea to go with that motherfucking Gerald McCoy. I like they 1-2 punch on the defense, the interior defensive line spot. I really like that shit. Then Washington goes with another Alabama defensive lineman because they had Jonathan Allen last year. They go with Deron Payne. Now, no, I'm gonna wait till at the end. When I saw this pick, I was like, well, okay. My eyes was rolling. I'm like, all right. The idiot pick of the day. I won't say the draft pick itself is an idiot, but New Orleans. You see New Orleans at number 14. You look on my mock draft. Where's New Orleans? Number 27. They jumped from 27 to number 14. Gave up a first-round pick for next year. And drafted University of Texas at San Antonio defensive end Marcus Davenport. I'm not saying the guy's not going to be good, but you don't give up a first-round pick next year to get this guy. Like, who's in a rush to get him? Show of hands, who's on the rush to get him? Because if you look at it, I don't think nobody all the way to 27, they didn't even pick a defensive end. So they, like, why? You could have just sat there, he would have fell right to you. But I thought that was the bonehead move of the day. New Orleans giving up a first-round pick next year to jump all the way up from 27 to 14 to get Marcus Davenport. As you can see, the grade is 83.25. Everybody else is 87s and up, Like, gave away too much just to get him? No. And then Oakland gets Colton Miller out of UCLA. Very solid pick for them. I was listening to 105.3 The Fan, and they kind of thought that they reached. Me personally, I didn't think they did. John Gruden, he's real high on like pass protection, the trenches and all that. I thought it was a good pick. Buffalo gets Tremaine Edmonds out of Virginia Tech. I like that pick as well. Chargers, they get our guy Derwin James. The Cowboys had him, and then the Cowboys was like, shit, maybe we should trade up, maybe not. We should sit back, and then the Chargers steal it. I'm kind of glad they didn't trade up because we need all the draft picks we can get. But, hey, what's done is done. Green Bay gets cornerback help with Jair Alexander out of Louisville. As you can see, the grades, solid. That cornerback suck. I mean, shit, when was the last time they had a good cornerback? I mean, they probably have, but you probably don't know about it. Then, of course, we get Leighton Vander Esch, who I had no idea about. I don't know that guy. When they first, I'm going to say this for the end. Dallas gets linebacker Leighton Vander Esch. Detroit gets a real good Arkansas tackle, Frank Ragnow. Billy Price, Rashawn Evans was a real good pick for Tennessee. Isaiah Wynn goes to New England. DJ Moore becomes the second wide receiver off the board. And there was a kind of, the first wide receiver off the board was just kind of like a shocker because I like Kwame Brown. Personally, I like Kwame Brown. St. Brown. But DJ Moore comes off, goes to Carolina. Tight end Hayden Hurst goes to Baltimore. And then Calvin Ridley goes to the most perfect place where he can go. I don't personally like him, and I didn't personally like him because I didn't want him on my Cowboys because my team doesn't have an X receiver. Calvin Ridley is not an X receiver. He goes to a team where he doesn't have to be an X receiver, which is great. Atlanta, he pairs up with a fellow Alabama Crimson Tide wide receiver, Julio Jones, and then you got Mohamed Sanu. Calvin Ridley doesn't even have to do a lot, but he's going to get a shitload of production. They're going to move him around. He is going to wreak havoc over there, and that is the perfect spot for him. Seattle with a reach pick with Rashad Penny. I don't get it. You had Nick Chubb sitting right there. You had Sony Michel sitting right there. But I guess, he's in their backyard in the Pac-12. Of course, Pete Carroll got that connection in the Pac-12. They saw something we didn't. But, yeah. Pittsburgh gets Tremaine Edmonds' brother, Terrell Edmonds. They become the first brother duo to be drafted in the first round, man. Shout out to them. Jacksonville gets the defensive tackle Taven Bryan out of Florida. Minnesota gets secondary help with Mike Hughes. New England gets Sony Michel, who is probably my favorite running back at this whole draft, man. I love Sony Michel, man. Perfect pick for the New England offense, man. And then, of course, Baltimore trades up and gets Lamar Jackson. I was so happy for him. And as you can see on my mock draft, I predicted Baltimore to get Lamar Jackson. Like, I was so happy for him to be picked in the first round. And if anybody doesn't know, the significance of being picked in the first round isn't because of bragging rights. It's because you have a fifth-year option. The teams can use a fifth-year option, and I thought that was very important. Baltimore now has the option of a fifth year with Lamar Jackson. And, of course, Joe Flacco, nobody knows how good is he going to be. They get some insurance. And they also, as y'all can see coming up, they're going to give him a little help. But I'm happy. Lamar Jackson is a first-round quarterback in Baltimore where he's going to be low-key. But then he has some really good competition in that AFC North, though. Coming up in the Chris Rocket podcast, we're going to break it down in the divisions. We're going to start with the North divisions. You are listening to the Chris Rocky Podcast.
Yes, officer, I know it doesn't look good, these guys running a train on me and all, but the thing is, I'm an addict. A sex addict.
Finally, a meta-addiction you can blame all your other addictions and insecurities on. That's right. It's time to give personal accountability one in the can. Read 13 Steps to Heaven today.
13 Steps to Heaven. Available wherever books are still sold.
On the inside, you're an adventurer because nothing impresses people like having hobbies.
I want to get that outdoorsy vibe, but I'm not an outdoorsy person. I really hate nature.
On the outside, nothing impresses people like Crevice. The outdoor outfitter that gives you exciting hobbies and ensures you look the part. Hobbies aren't about doing something, they're about seeming interesting. Sports aren't about actually participating, it's about looking the part in the bar. Let's face it, guys into extreme sports could probably get a lot of chicks if they weren't self-absorbed turds.
Crevice.
We help you take the inside outside. Crevice, never stop pretending.
Welcome back to the Chris Rocky Podcast. We're going to start with the AFC North, man, to see all these notable picks. As you can see right there, man, highlighted by Cleveland Browns #1 pick, Baker Mayfield. They ended up taking Denzel Ward, a really good guard, Austin Corbett, and then the pick that I really like, excuse me, Nick Chubb out of Georgia. I really like that pick to go with Duke Johnson and what the fuck is that? Crowell. They now have a good trio of running backs. They also get laden around Antonio Callaway and Jannard Avery. I like that. I like that pick a lot. As you can see, I got a graded of 88. He's one of those guys I ended up grading after the draft. But really solid draft. Composite average of 85.81. So really good job by the Cleveland Browns. Pittsburgh. The picks that I really like for them, James Washington. They traded Martavis Bryant to the Oakland Raiders, so they needed to fill the void right there. And James Washington, who I call Anquan Bolden 2.0, goes to the Pittsburgh Steelers. That is such a fucking good pick. And then they also get Mason Rudolph to be the backup. I don't know, maybe noodle arm Landry Jones is out. I don't know. And then, of course, they needed a safety, Marcus Allen. Pretty average safety, and then nothing too special towards the end. They have a composite average of 85.64. So, hey, overall good job. The first three picks are real good. A core four is a really good tackle. Probably play some right tackle over there. Really good run blocker. So, solid draft for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Cincinnati Bengals. Billy Price, who was my top-rated center. He's going to be a really good pick for them. Malik Jefferson goes to them, man, and I thought that was a really good pick. Other than that, they ended up taking Alden Tate in a 7th round. That's a big motherfucker, man. Like, just wait till the preseason. That's a big motherfucker, man. To go with AJ Green and who the fuck is the other receiver? Jones? Is it Jones? Or did he go to the Detroit Lions? Well, anyway. If he becomes a second or third receiver, I know, they got John Ross, but John Ross belongs in the slot. But that big motherfucker can play. He's just a little slow, but he can play. Cincinnati has a composite average of 85.16. Like I said, if your draft as a whole is 85 and up, that's a pretty good draft. If you're 84, it's all right. Anything below 84, you need help. Baltimore. They get Hayden Hurst, Lamar Jackson, Orlando Brown, tight end out of Oklahoma, Mark Andrews, Anthony Everett. Those 4 picks was just boom, 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 boom. And then they get Jordan Lashley and Deshaun Elliott, who was my favorite safety other than Darren James. I didn't mention Minka Fitzpatrick because I didn't think he was going to fall to us, so I had to be reasonable. Deshaun Elliott was one of my favorite safeties for us to get, us meaning the Cowboys. And then they get Senator Bradley Bozeman, who was like number 2 or number 3 on my board. Orlando Brown was the best tackle, well, 1 or 2 best tackles, and I think he was number 1 overall. Baltimore just had a real good fucking draft all the way around, with the exception of a couple picks that I kind of didn't like, Zach Seiler and Greg Sinat. But who knows how they turn out to be. But other than that, man, they had a damn good draft, man. They gave Lamar Jackson some pass protection and help offensively. Mark Andrews and Hayden Hurst. I mean, because, Max Williams, he's in the last year of his contract. They lost Ben Watson a couple years ago. They need to revamp that offense, man. And then Jordan Lashley is going to be – they already got like 9 receivers over there, so somebody's got to come out of that bunch. They have a composite average of 86.08. That's a really good, solid score, man. And let's move on to the NFC North. Chicago, with highlighted by Raekwon Smith. And then they get the motherfucking shifty wide receiver Anthony Miller out of Memphis, who was one of my favorites. One of my motherfucking favorites, man. That dude right there, he's Steve Smith. He's Steve Smith Sr. right there, man. The swagger, the hands, the shiftiness. I love it. And then they get the Georgia wide receiver real late, Javon Wims. Big dude. He can play. Hopefully he gets on the field. Somebody has a lineup on the other side of Allen Robinson. Real good to help for Mitch Trubisky. I like it. The composite score is pretty average, 84.57. I think that's due to the pick of Kylie Fitz, who I didn't like. He had a grade of 78.5. And then Joel Ayig Bunniway, a grade of 80. Those are only 2 picks where I kind of didn't like. But they see something that I don't. Whatever. Green Bay, excuse me, they did a lot for their defense. They get 2 cornerbacks right off the bat, Jair Alexander and Josh Jackson. They needed to show up that secondary. So those 2 picks I kind of like. They get Oren Burks, who I really like too, man. Jamon Moore is, I guess for that type of offense, I get it. But then the guy who they should have got ended up falling all the way down. And they ended up getting the guy, Equanimeous St. Brown, 87.5. That motherfucker can play. I don't know why the fuck he fell so far. I really want to know why. Because this dude, he runs a 4.4. He's like 6'4". This dude can play. I don't know why he fell so far. But hey, he fell into a really good situation. I hope whatever the reason he fell so far, I hope he learns from it. He's in a really, really great situation, and he should take advantage of it. That team has a composite grade of 84.48, very average. But for what they needed, Jordy Nelson left, weak secondary. That got secondary help. They got wide receiver help. That's all the fuck matters. Detroit, they get Frank Ragnow. They get Kerryon Johnson. They running game need Jesus. They got it. Terrell Crosby on that offensive line too. They kind of just did what they need to do. They drafted based off of need, and it showed. They only had six picks, composite grade of 83.88. But hey, they got what they needed. For what they needed, they hit on it. They need offensive line help. Ragnow and Crosby, 86.5, 88.5. They need running back, Kerryon Johnson, 86. Nick Baldwin, 82. But hey, for where he picked that was a good pick. I'm not even tripping on Detroit though. Minnesota, they get Mike Hughes. They get tackle Brian O'Neill, Jalen Holmes, tight end Tyler Conklin, who I feel like is going to be real good. They get a kicker. I mean, just, solid picks up and down. Aid Aruna, I don't know what the fuck they were thinking when they picked him at that spot, but, that's why Minnesota's Minnesota. Composite grade of about an 84, 83.94 to be exact. Pretty average for a whole division as a whole, but it is highlighted by that pick from Chicago, Anthony Miller, who I feel like is going to be the best out this bunch. And then, depending on how angry this motherfucker is, Equanimeous St. Brown, he should look around and be like, fuck everybody, and just ball. So those are the North divisions. Now we're headed to the South division, starting with the Tennessee Titans, who had 4 picks in the draft. Because they were picking up and down all the way around and shit, man. They get Rashaan Evans out of Alabama, graded 85.25. And Harold Landry, who I didn't like too much, but they ended up picking him up. Then they get Luke Falk late. Pretty so type of draft for them. Composite grade of 84.5. Houston, who didn't start picking until the 3rd round, thanks to the trade of Brock Osweiler, who fucked them up. They end up getting Justin Reed, Martinez Rankin, Jordan Atkins in the the Texas Tech wide receiver, Kiki Cutie. You may make fun of his name, but that motherfucker is shifty, and he is good, and he is fast, and there's a really good pick for Houston. Other than that, Duke Ejiofor, average. Jordan Thomas, average. Peter Kalumbayi, average. Jermaine Kelly, average. But for those first four, really good picks from, they started picking in the third round. Really good picks for them. They got a composite grade of 84.56. Indianapolis, who I felt like had a really good draft. They get Quentin Nelson with the first one. And then later on, they got the guard Braden Smith with an 88. Kamoko Toure, I don't know what they were thinking there. Tyquan Lewis, I don't know there. Naheem Hines is going to be somebody to look out for. He's a real shifty running back, can catch it out of the backfield. Doris Fountain the same way. Jordan Wilkins. Deion Kane was a really good pick as well. They get a lot of offensive help. So it's going to be a really good year for them offensively, and especially anchored by the two guards they got. Andrew Luck is he's going to get a lot of help on that offense, and maybe they'll get back to where they used to be, but they got to go through Houston and Jacksonville. And speaking of Jacksonville, they get my favorite wide receiver who I wanted for the Cowboys, other than the Kwame St. Brown. They get DJ Chark out of LSU. I just wonder what the hell. I wanted him so bad. He's fast, great character, and he just plays the right way, runs routes and all that, man. But, they get to pair him up with D.D. Westbrook. That fucking wide receiver core is going to be nasty, man. They get Taven Bryant. They get Ronnie Harrison, Will Richardson. They get Tanner Lee late. And then they get a punter. Composite grade of 85.14. Easily the best out of this division. Jacksonville had a pretty good draft. Now they slide over to the NFC South rather. The New Orleans Saints, highlighted by that reach pick, Marcus Davenport. And then they kind of backdoored and got Traquan Smith, a grade of 85. And then the other pick that I liked was Will Clapp, the center. They picked him up late, and look at his grade, 87.75, which is damn good for a pick that's picked that late. The grade average, 83.86. Not good enough, but the wide receiver pick and the Will Clapp pick I like. Carolina, they get DJ Moore, and they get cornerback help with Dante Jackson. And other than that, pretty average. Dante Jackson is pretty much the best pick that they have on here. DJ Moore out of Maryland. They just kind of be like, we need help. They could have got Calvin Ridley. I don't know why they didn't get Calvin Ridley. Maybe they need a bigger receiver. DJ Moore is a bigger receiver. They got Funches, but, whatever. They got a composite grade of 82.53, and, of course, we all know why. Atlanta, other than the Calvin Ridley pick, they get Ito Smith and DeAndre Sinat. Those are the two picks that I really like. The Ito Smith pick may mean Tavon Coleman is on his way out. He's in the last year of his contract, so they got a little insurance on that. They get a composite grade of 83.83, very average. Tampa Bay, they get Vita Vea, the defensive tackle, to go with Gerald McCoy. They get one of my favorite cornerbacks, Carlton Davis. They get guard Alex Kappa. Jordan Whitehead's a real solid pick. They get real solid picks over here, man. Ronald Jones out of USC, 84.5. Doug Martin is out, so they need some running back help. They get a pretty average composite score, 84.47, the best in the division. But that Vita Vea pick is going to pay dividends, man. Coming up in the Chris Rocket Podcast, we're going to do the West and the East divisions. You are listening to the Chris Rocket Podcast.
Adrenaline junkie? Isn't it time you tried Ego Chaser and took things to the limit? Enjoy these sexy shots of extreme sports and base jumping. But we mostly sell energy bars to desperate middle-aged men who haven't played sports for years, but are suddenly obsessed with triathlons. Hey, you could be a super athlete, even though you have an office job and a family you ignore. You don't have time for real friends. You're a warrior. It's an energy bar that's all about you. How big is your Ego Chaser?
I used to enjoy lighting up a bowl of black tar heroin at work, but with today's climate, you can't smoke anywhere. That's why I got the Electro-Toke electronic pipe. You hear that? It sounds like I'm freebasing smoking a pipe, but it's electronic. Looks like a bass pipe, feels like one, tastes like one, and most of all, it feels real. That's because the real chemicals you enjoy are being delivered by harmless water vapor. It uses highly sophisticated micro-automation technology to make the consuming of hard drugs healthy, discreet, and pleasurable. And it's completely safe. Picked from many different cartridges and flavors. Peanut butter flavored meth, cheesecake cocaine, bubblegum flavored heroin, just to name a few. Finally, there's a safe and discreet way of blazing a bowl.
Visit electrotokesystem.com today.
All right, in the West Divisions, Kansas City Chiefs, the picks are highlighted. The ones that I like was Dorian O'Daniel, outside linebacker, and Derek Nandi, really good, solid defensive picks. Breland Speaks, who I think was a reach, but they made up for it in the later rounds. So they get a composite score at 84.71. The Chargers, who stole Derrick James from the Cowboys, highlights their good picks, man. And they backed over Uchenna Nwosu, Justin Jones, and Kazir White, who's a hard-hitting safety out of West Virginia. And then Scott Quisenberry, real good interior offensive lineman. Dylan Cantrell is another solid pick. Justin Jackson was good for where he picked. A really good composite score of 86, man. The Chargers, I better watch out for the Chargers, man. Oakland, this is Chucky's first draft in about 97 years, highlighted by Colt Miller in the first round. After that, it was meh. Arden Key was real good pick for where he was. They get Nick Nelson, who I ended up watching film on after the draft. Real good pick. And the wide receiver Marcel Aitman was a steal in the 7th round. Really big wide receiver, 6'4", I think it's 6'4", 220 out of Oklahoma State. While James Washington was getting all the deep passes, Marcel Aitman was getting all the underneath passes. And dude has real good hands, and I think that's going to be a real addition to that offense. And, of course, they lost Michael Crabtree, so he's good. He's a really good replacement for them. Denver, Bradley Chubb, Corliss Sutton, Royce Freeman, Isaac Yiadom, Josie Jewell, who is my favorite fucking inside linebacker. They stole him. Deshaun Hamilton, Troy Fumagalli, Sam Jones, all those right there were bang, 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 bang. That's a damn good job by the Denver Broncos, man. Just look at the scores. Look at the scores. They were just bang, 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 bang. And look, the composite score, 86.15. This is probably the best draft of, the whole squad, even though they're only 100ths of a grade above the Chargers. But look how many they picked. They picked three more players in the Chargers, and it's just solid. Offense, Corliss Sutton is just perfect. You got Thomas, you got Sanders, and you got Sutton. Sutton is a big dude who can run. It makes Emmanuel Sanders, put him in the slot. Look, it's just perfect. Fucking perfect. Really good job out there in Denver. Moving on to the NFC West, Seattle Seahawks. We're going to start out with their reach of a running back, Rashad Penny, who I can, I don't get. I don't know. But they did make up for it by drafting Shaquem Griffin. Now, I'm not going to talk about the fact that he doesn't have a left hand, but looking at the film, and I didn't initially have film on him, I ended up watching after the draft. And this dude, no surprise, but he gets to the fucking ball. He's a really good pick. I don't know why teams were so scared. Now, of course, if you're coming around that right side and you need to grab with your left hand, I know that's a deterrent, but this guy, he gets to the ball. I think that's the part that matters. And the Seattle steals him. He gets to reunite with his brother, Shaquille Griffin, who's already on the squad. Really good, feel-good story, but, he's probably going to be the first. He's probably going to be the one to tell you, it ain't about my hand. Let's just talk about how I play. And the dude plays. As you can see, the score that I gave him, 87.5. Really fucking good grade. And they have a composite score of 83.56. Really not good picks, but the pick that was highlighted, Shaquem Griffin, I really like that pick, not just for the inspirational standpoint, but the fact that he was a steal. He's a really good player, and they got him that late. It's a steal. He's gonna be going to a couple Pro Bowls. Watch. On to Arizona, Josh Rosen, Christian Kirk, Mason Cole, and then late they get Corey Cunningham. All four of those were bang, bang, bang. I just think this is a really good draft for them. You know, Josh Rosen is going to be the quarterback of the future. You anchor them with 2 offensive linemen, and you get them help on wide receiver to go with Larry Fitzgerald, who can still play. Christian Kirk can learn a lot from Larry Fitzgerald. Fitzgerald can still get the underneath passes. Christian Kirk can stretch it. He can, or either or. Really good pick for them. They get a composite score of 85.46. Really good score. The Rams, who had like 98 picks in this draft, they get Joseph Noteboom, real good center, Brian Allen, and then they get Ogbonnia Okoronkwo, real good pick, Sebastian Joseph, and Justin Lawler from SMU at the very end. I just think for the amount of picks that they had, they were hitting it. You know, composite score of 84.98. I think they did a really good job keeping it, holding it down all the way across the board. Good balance between offense and defense. They got a little bit more defense, as they should, but real solid draft. San Francisco, McGlinchey. They get Dante Pettis. Real good, solid offensive picks. Fred Warner, average. Tavares Moore. They re-signed Jaquisti Tart, so maybe Tavares Moore probably going to play some strong safety. I don't know. We shall see. Then they backdoor Marcel Harris, so who knows what they're going to do. Richie James is a pick that I like. I think he went to Middle Tennessee State. So that offense is going to look real nice. Composite score of 84.03. So real good job. Real good job out of San Francisco, man. John Lynch is out there doing some work. The team, New England. New England was like playing with everybody in this draft. They kept trading down. And I'm wondering, why the fuck are y'all helping them getting picks for next year? Because they got a shitload of picks for the next 2 years, man. Like, I think in the 3rd round, they were just getting, well, I think in the 4th round. The 4th round that they traded down twice. Or was it the 3rd round? It was at the 3rd or the 4th round, and they were getting 2nds and 3rds for the next year. Like, nigga, why are y'all doing this? And for the picks that they had, Isaiah Wynn, 89. Sony Michel, 87. Duke Dawson, 85. And then at the very end, Danny Etling, who's going to be possibly the quarterback of the future. If you look at the way he throws, that's about as fucking New England Patriots as it gets. And the wide receiver they got is probably fucking Danny Amendola's nephew, Braxton Berrios out of Miami. You look at how the fuck he runs. That's probably the most Patriots pick I've ever seen. Composite score of 84.69 is, they should call it the trade down draft for them, because that's all they did. And they still got the people that want it. Ain't it amazing how that shit happens? The New York Jets, the picks was highlighted was Sam Darnold, which they didn't know he was going to fall to them. Thank you to the Cleveland Browns. And I said before the draft started, if the Cleveland Browns draft Baker Mayfield, they would have done everybody else a favor. And that's exactly what the hell happened. They did the Jets a favor, first of all. They did the Jets a very big favor, because if the Browns would have got Sam Darnold, and then they would have been left with Josh Rosen or Josh Allen, who people was like, okay, don't get Josh Allen because of how people were picking Carson Wentz. These little small school quarterbacks, you think they're going to be the next Ben Roethlisberger, but they don't. Okay, well, don't get Josh Rosen because of a racist tweet or something back in the day, or he isn't accurate, he isn't this and that. All of their questions is out the door, because now Sam Darnold falls right into their lap. They now have the quarterback of the future. Instead of just bouncing around with Bryce Petty, Christian Hackenberg, and Geno Smith, and all those people, they get the quarterback of the future. Now they need to work on everything else. And to me, quite honestly, the rest of the draft didn't even fucking matter, because they got the quarterback of the future. They can just stack up free agent-wise because they got a lot of money. So the rest of the draft didn't even matter. And, of course, the way they picked, it just looked like they were just like, man, fuck it. Who's on the board? They just pick them, because the grades 83, 84, 84, 83, 82. They didn't give a fuck. They got their quarterback. They went and started watching motherfucking shit. They started watching the NBA playoffs. Hell, that was listening to some Tekashi 6ix9ine. They didn't give a fuck about the rest of the draft. They got Sam Darnold. None of that shit even mattered. They almost picked Lucky Whitehead, who was already on the squad. They got a composite score of 83.96, but they got their guy. Miami, really good picks for Minkah Fitzpatrick and Mike Gesicki. They failed miserably by getting, first they had Jordan Cameron. It didn't work out. Then Julius Thomas. It didn't work out. It will work out with Mike Gesicki. That offense is going to be, well, they need to make up for losing Jarvis Landry, but Mike Gesicki is a real good step in the right direction. They get Minkah Fitzpatrick to anchor that back end on the defense. Kalen Ballas, maybe that he'll replace Jay Ajayi, but they got Kenyon Drake, so they pretty much the same kind of guy. Durham Smythe, really, solid draft. As you can see, 84.9 for a composite score. I think it's a pretty decent job. They got the two guys that they really needed to get, and they both were 88. So good job by Miami. Buffalo, who this was a very important draft for them because they lost so much during the season. You lose Tyrod Taylor. Let's go get Josh Allen, which made a lot of sense because Buffalo has an outdoor stadium. It gets cold as shit out there. Wyoming, it gets cold as hell. Even though that's kind of like a fucking, hypocritical statement, but you get what I'm trying to say. They get Edmonds, they get Phillips, and then later on in the draft, they got Wyatt Teller, who's a really good interior lineman, and Ray McLeod, who I feel like is going to be a real good, solid pick. Austin Pro, even though he has a grade of 83, and that's only because he's not that fast, but he has really good hands. And for people who really know football, his dad, Ricky Pro, played in the league for like 12, 13 years, really good wide receiver. Very similar, a little bit taller, hands, not that fast. So, composite score 84.44 is exactly what I thought. Solid, but not, overly, great, but solid draft for the Buffalo Bills. On to the NFC East, highlighted by my fucking Dallas Cowboys. Leighton Vander Esch out of Boise State. I didn't know who the fuck he was. I didn't know what. Let me just go through this. I'll get my reactions later. We got a real good pick, Connor Williams. Michael Gallup, 82.75. I didn't like it, but we got him. Dalton Schultz, real good tight end. Mike White, a real good quarterback. Cedric Wilson was a solid pick. Bo Scarborough, for where he fell at, I thought that was a really, really good, damn good pick. 84.75 doesn't sound like a real good score, but for where he was, that was a damn good pick. Connor Williams, to me, was the best pick of the draft for us. You would think that the Cowboys don't need a lineman, but we needed a left guard, and he's the fucking perfect left guard. Lyle Collins can move to right tackle now where he's supposed to be, and sheesh. Let's moving on. Composite score 84.64, man. So okay draft for us. Philadelphia, I refuse to call them the defending champion. So look at their picks, horrible. Dallas Goedert, they actually traded before us because they thought we was going to get him. We weren't even going to get him to begin with. Dallas Goedert, 84. Avonte Maddox, 82. Josh Sweat, 81. And then a couple tackles that was worth 82. Composite score 82.25 for a defending champion. That's a horrible draft. 82, horrible draft. Washington. I hate to say this, but they probably had one of the best drafts in the league, even though they have a score of 85.88. They get Deron Pay, pretty good. Darius Geis, a steal. Garen Christian, who's going to play right tackle for them, good. Troy Apke, he ran a 4.3, 4.4, some shit like that. Real good safety. But Tim Settle, that's a big motherfucker, man. That is a big dude. He will move the whole line of scrimmage back. I am scared to death to watch him. As you can see, his grade of 89. He's another one of those guys I scouted at the end of the draft. And I didn't know who he was. So I went and looked at, and that that dude right there, man, that's a big dude, man. And of course, Sean Deion Hamilton, another Alabama guy, and that Trey Quinn out of SMU. Cortland Sutton, he gets all the praise, but Trey Quinn actually led that team in receiving. He had like 114 catches for that squad, so that's a real good pick for them. Composite score of a real good 85.88 for Washington Redskins. Real good pick for them. That Tim Settle pick it's gonna hump me for the next 5 years, man. So beware for Tim Settle. The Giants, to end the whole analysis of the draft, Saquon Barkley, Will Hernandez, Lorenzo Carter, bang, bang, bang. All three over at 87. Then they backdoor with B.J. Hill and Kyle Lauletta, R.J. McIntosh. Real good, solid fucking picks for them. 86.63. I think they had the highest average, if I'm not mistaken. Real good draft for them, man. They addressed the offensive line. I still don't know who the fuck their left tackle is. I think it's Nate Solder. Is it Nate Solder? But they addressed their offensive line in free agency and in the draft, so they did a real good job. They got the running back they wanted. They get the edge rusher that they like. They did a real good job, and the Giants ain't bullshit. Philadelphia, they need, I guess these guys are backups. I don't know, because they really don't need no help defensively or offensively. I just hope somebody breaks their leg on offense. Knock on wood. But those are your analysis for the divisions. Broke it down. I think the Giants had the highest average, but I think for everybody pretty much addressed everything except for the Philadelphia Eagles. But they can kiss my ass. I don't like the Eagles. But coming up in the Chris Rocky podcast, I'm going to discuss the Dallas picks personally, and I'm going to try to get some fan reaction. You all listen to the Chris Rocky podcast.
I was watching these two chicks give each other head while I was pissing on the other one. But I'm doing it because I hate myself. You don't understand. I'm the victim here. That's right. You're a sex addict. Hi, I'm Leonard Etcher. By 13 Steps to Heaven today.
13 Steps to Heaven, the profound book that will change your perception of addiction.
The apocalypse is coming. Will it be aliens, zombies, or a global financial meltdown? Whatever it is, you need to be prepared.
Get your complete apocalypse kit at Ammunition. Contains foodstuffs and alcohol for 3 months. A massive array of armaments. Water purifier so you can drink your own urine. And cyanide pills so you can go out like a man. Don't dial 911. Dial 357. Ammunition. Protecting your rights.
Welcome back to the Chris Rocky podcast, and this is probably be my. Let's see, what draft have I been a part of? I've really paid attention to the draft probably since I think Terrence Newman was the first pick that I really paid attention to, and I think that was 2005. So this will be my 14th draft that I'm really paying attention to. My third, paying close attention to. Well, I guess technically my second. My second doing scouting and stuff like that. So, getting a little bit more emotionally invested, and also really just sharpening my skills as far as, the sports stuff. So every time the draft comes around, it really just, you put all your the studying and the research, it all comes to fruition when it comes to stuff like this. And then when the draft comes up, surprise. It doesn't, anger me that a lot of my picks didn't go my way, or a lot of the stuff that I predict doesn't go my way. Like when it comes to scouting, none of the picks hit right away. And if they do, the worst thing that can happen if they hit on the first one and they fall flat in the second and third year. Like a good scout would tell you, if I feel good about somebody, year 3 is the year where, that'll tell you what my analysis was. And that's what, you see a lot of grades on A lot of guys that I gave, like last year it was Jordan Leggett. Nobody know who the hell Jordan Leggett. Jordan Leggett barely played last year. Year 3, we'll see after that. Terrell Basham. Anybody know much about him last year? He didn't play much last year. Year 3, we'll see what it is. Bucky Hodges the same way. This year, you see a lot of grades as 90. You see a lot of experts on TV. They're like, well, they don't have him as a 90. Let's wait till year 3. We'll revisit that in year 3, and then we'll see if I'm right. If I'm right, then, hey, pat on my back. If I'm wrong, then no sweat, because we can't be right all the time. I don't want to be right all the time. And I think that's what makes this fun, because the ones you do hit on, you feel great. You feel me? And I say all that to say this. No matter how good of a scout you are, nobody would have picked Leighton Vander Esch in the first round. I don't care if you didn't. I don't care if you were a head coach at Boise State. They wouldn't have picked Leighton Vander Esch in the first round. They wouldn't have picked that from Blue Mountain State. Because when he got picked, I didn't know who the hell he was. I knew it was going to be a defensive pick because I always listen to 105.3 The Fan on, when it comes to draft coverage, because they have guys who actually scout. They don't have guys who guess. They have guys who scout. And then when they look at the war room, they were like, well, there goes Rob Marinelli, who was defensive coordinator. This is probably going to be a defensive pick. They went down their board. They're like, okay, we got this guy, this guy, this guy. They did mention Vander Esch, but they were mentioning safeties because we needed safety. So when Vander Esch got called, I didn't know who he was. I've scouted 293 players. Well, now it's a lot more because I, scouted after the draft. I didn't know who the fuck he was. Nobody didn't know who he was. I ended up looking for my boy Josh, and he wasn't happy. Nobody was happy. Nobody was fucking happy. But I end up looking at the film, and Vander Esch, to me, a lot of people say he might be Urlacher. A lot of people say he might be Bobby Carpenter. I see a guy who will get to the ball, can get swallowed up. He's 6'4", 240. If I could put it this way, he had a lot of tackles in college. He had 91 solo tackles, which I guess counts for something. He's the kind of guy, he's probably that skinny ass security guard, and there are two big motherfuckers in the corner store. He's a security guard at the corner store, and there was two big motherfuckers robbing the corner store. He ain't gonna take the motherfuckers down, but he's gonna stand in the door long enough until the Laws get there. That's Van Der Esch right there. He's gonna get to the ball and wait for, pretty much beat her, grab the runner, ball carrier long enough to where help will come and complete the tackle. He will hit you in open space. He will tackle you, but going in traffic, he will do enough to where help will get there and the play will be made. And also, what's very important to me, I like a guy that works hard. Say what you want about Tony Romo. Offensively, he wasn't gifted athletically, technically, and all that kind of stuff, even though he can move around the pocket. But the dude can study. I'm not saying Van Der Esch is going to be the Romo defense. Well, I don't know what the fuck that is. But I like a guy that works hard. And he comes across to me a guy that's going to work hard. And that's all I want, man. As a Cowboys fan, that's all I want. And I'm only saying this because ain't shit I can do about that pick. If I could trade that pick, I would trade that motherfucking pick in a minute. I would go get motherfucking Tim Settle big ass out of Washington, but we don't trade within our division, so fuck them. The Connor Williams pick is a pick that I really fucking like. Now, this guy sounds like a Poindexter to me. He doesn't sound like a nasty guy, like a guy that's mean. You look at Zach Martin, he looks mean. Travis Frazier with the beard, mean. Tyron Smith, he just looks like a motherfucker that's going to look at you and just slap the shit out of you. Lyle Collins the same way. Even Doug Freed looked like he was going to slap the shit out of you. Connor Williams is a big dude, but he's soft-spoken. He sounds like a guy that went to Highland Park High School. Like, buttoned up, wears a fucking tight collar shirt, and we'll say, wears cargo pants, cargo shorts with flip-flops type of dude. But the motherfucker's smart. Motherfucker wants to work, wants to play, willing to learn, play within the offense. And if that helps our offensive line, who's already good, I like it. I graded him a 90.25 for a reason. The dude can play. Now, I don't know how nasty he can be on the field, because there's gonna be some nasty mofos on the other side, especially in Philly, who don't like us. Giants and the Redskins. I need for him to be mad sometimes. I don't think he can be mad, but technically sound guy, gets the job done. As long as he can keep Zeke jersey clean, I think I got Dak Prescott's on my shit list, so maybe a couple of times he get, Dak probably killed a couple of times. We'll allow that. But as long as you keep Zeke jersey clean, keep Bo Scarborough jersey clean, Rod Smith, that's all I want. Michael Gallup. Now, the reason why I gave Michael Gallup an 82.75, there were the games that I seen raggedy route running. And then I went back because a lot of guys were excited. When they made this pick, Jeff Kavanaugh for 105.3 The Fan, he was jumping for joy for this pick. So I was like, you know what? Let me go back and watch some more. I ended up watching the same film and then watching some more film because they were saying his quarterback didn't help, which his quarterback didn't help either. His quarterback was a trigger happy, threw the ball late. Offensive line didn't help as well. So I went back and had to match up the analysis of what they said to what I saw. And if you really think about it, if Michael Gallup had a quarterback who was upright and could stand there and throw the pass at the right spot, he would be probably at 85.7 or 86. And that's what I saw too. But I had to keep the score that I initially gave him because I don't want to double down, because I can do that for anybody. So I had to put the initial grade on there of 82.75. And of course, me being a Cowboys fan, what's done is done. You kind of got to look at the positive side of things. Michael Gallup, if I could easily explain who he is and what he can be, he's Chad Johnson. Not attitude-wise, but if you look at how he's run, look at how he's built, look at how his hands are, that's Chad Johnson, not Chad Ochocinco, Chad Johnson. And I think that's a real good pick. Edge rusher Doris Armstrong out of Kansas. If you follow me on Instagram, that's Anthony Spencer. And that's about as best as I can put it. Anthony Spencer. Big enough to play defensive end, fast enough to play linebacker. The Anthony Spencer. Do I need to say any more? Tight end Dalton Schultz. Of course, Jason Witten retired. I don't know if he officially retired, but Dalton Schultz is a real good, solid tight end, a real good blocker, and can catch good enough. Probably catch 30 passes, 30, 35 passes. You will see his impact on the run game because the motherfucker can block. I really like that pick. Smart dude, blue collar kind of guy. Mike White. Real good, technically sound quarterback. Went to Western Kentucky. I think his height. I think he's a little bit taller than Dak. I think he's like 6'4". Not too much taller, but real good arm. Real good zip on the pass. And he's a guy that, just like Dak, throws whoever's open. He don't stare down nobody. He throws to whoever's open. I really like this pick. Him and Cooper Rush are going to be competing for that backup spot. That's going to be real interesting. I think he's capable of, if Dak was to go down, he's a guy that I feel real good about. I mean, I feel good about Cooper Rush too, but I like our quarterback situation, from top to bottom. I really like it. Chris Covington, I had no idea who the hell this guy is. He played quarterback and then ended up being a linebacker. Yeah, I don't know, and I still don't know anything about him. I have not watched film on him. He has an 82 because that's a default grade that I give to everybody. There's a lot of 82s on there. So I haven't seen anything on Chris Covington. I don't know anything about Chris Covington. I'm probably not going to I'm not going to watch a highlight tape because highlight tapes don't show everything. I'm never going to watch a highlight tape. So Chris Covington, I don't know anything about him. Cedric Wilson out of Boise State, and with him, he makes the 5th pick out of Boise State since 2008, which is the most. They should call it Cowboise State. But Cedric Wilson, real good, solid pick, man. If you wanna, the dude looks like Lex Luger, the producer. Well, nobody knows who the hell that is, but skinny dude, runs a real good route. That's pretty much Bryce Butler. That's Bryce Butler right there. Bryce Butler jumps a little higher, bigger hands. That's Cedric Wilson is Bryce Butler in a nutshell. I don't know how fast he is, but that's basically who he is without explaining too much, because I know a lot of people on here, they're like, okay, with all that technical shit. Well, yeah, Cedric Wilson is Bryce Butler. And finally, Bo Scarborough, unless you've been living under a rock, everybody know who the hell Bo Scarborough is. When I heard that they drafted Bo Scarborough, I lost it. Good luck tackling Zeke, but good luck tackling Bo Scarborough. I didn't think the Alabama offensive line was as good as they were the year before. So you give Bo Scarborough enough room, it's a fucking wrap. And then if Zeke goes down for whatever reason, I feel good about our running back situation. Bo Scarborough can play. Of course, everybody know that. I gave him an 84.75 because, I felt like there were a lot of runs where he left meat on the bones. Instead of, finding contact, he can kind of sidestep a lot, But, he's a power back, so he doesn't know any better. As long as you go north and south, I'm cool with that. But the draft as a whole, I like it. The thing that I'm worried about, well, I'm not worried about, the wide receiver situation. We also traded for Tavon Austin. We traded Barry Switzer to Barry Switzer. We traded Ryan Switzer to the Oakland Raiders. And we got a defensive tackle, something like that. But we traded for Tavon Austin. We traded a 6th-round pick for Tavon Austin. So that's Tavon Austin. We signed Allen Hurns. We drafted Michael Gallup. We drafted Cedric Wilson. We got Cole Beasley. We got Terrence Williams. We got Noah Brown. And we got Deontay Thompson, who we signed a $1 million deal. That's 8 wide receivers. Somebody has to go. I remember throwing out this idea early in the year. Trade Terrence Williams to the San Francisco 49ers. I don't think they need Terrence Williams now. They got Dante Pettis. They got Richie James. So as we sit here today, I mean, who are you going to trade Terrence Williams to? Because you don't trade within your own division. What you gonna do? Trade them to the Jets? The Jets they didn't sign a wide receiver. You know what? That would be a real good trading partner. Trade Terrence Williams to the Jets because Robbie Anderson, I think he's in trouble for some domestic violence or some shit, a DUI or some shit. Trade Terrence Williams to the New York Jets and, get probably a 4 or 5 over there. Cole Beasley, I mean, do what you want with him. I think we need Cole Beasley, but Terrence Williams definitely we need to catch it. Trade this Tyrannosaurus Rex arms ass, and we still need a safety. We didn't draft a safety. We still need safety help, and we're moving Byron Jones to cornerback. Do we move Xavier Woods back to safety? We got Jeff Heath. We got what's that other kid? That's another kid back there. I forgot his name, but he hit hard. We don't have a safety. So we got some undrafted free agents. I don't know their names, but I hope the hell not. We're not going to trade for Earl Thomas now. We might as well just wait. At this point, we might as well just wait. But overall, man, I like what we done in the draft. Wide receiver situation, I still need to know a little bit more about that. But I like what we done, man. Pretty solid draft. 84.64, Maybe next year I get to compare it from last year to, this year to the next year. And, see how much we improve, see how much stuff we, how people improve. We probably have about 3 picks from Boise State, depending on how this shit go. But that's all I have for today. This has been episode 24 about the NFL draft. Hopefully y'all like my analysis. I know I'm long-winded when I talk when it comes to, NFL and players and whatnot. But, it's good to be back and, talking sports again. Who knows when my next episode is going to be, but I felt like I needed to do this because, you got to put all this work on display, all the research I've done, months and months of research, maybe with the NBA playoffs here, I'm probably going to get started on the NBA scouting, which is a totally different monster because they don't have individual players. I got to watch like the whole game, which is cool with me because I could, watch multiple players in the same game, But, thanks y'all for watching. All 4 of y'all, 3 of y'all, however many it is. Keep a lookout for my basketball scouting. The Mavericks, the draft lottery is coming up. Maybe I'll do something about that. But I'm definitely going to do some NBA scouting, and we're going to do something else for NBA free agency and NBA draft. So appreciate you guys for listening. And y'all take care, man, and be safe out there. You have been listening to the Chris Rocket Podcast.